today is holiday. I was checking to see whether I can see one Digo, so that we can agree on how to break the fast. So I want to appreciate Bishop for very powerful submission. Like I keep on telling you every time you challenge me, I keep on saying that there is so much that I need to do. You know, it would have been better if I was not here. Because if I go to heaven, I would say I was not told. But now, unfortunately, you say when I'm here, so I have no excuse but to become an active player in the vineyard. CEO has done justice to the recap, our conversation for yesterday, and I want to believe that even today we create conversations that are progressive. Now we are unpacking the work that was done by the committee of experts, and some of us were lucky to have participated in the build-up to the report in the form of maybe preparing memorandums. I know Ketsa had prepared a memorandum that went to the committee of experts, and the committee of experts have been very kind to recognize and to mention Ketsa in its report. I know there is a report that was done by Cusco through the forums for CEOs, and I was happy that I was also present in the moderations. So part of the report, part of what the committee of experts came up with could have been informed by us one way or the other. But there is also reference of very many other institutions that participated. There is the reference of the Apex institutions, and of course the regional chapters where they came down collecting primary data. So this unpacking is one way or the other preparing for now picking issues. You may be aware that already part of what the committee of experts proposed have been translated into a bill. I am not very sure of the stage at which the bill is at, but I know the bill has been shared with the movement. There was a forum that happened in Mombasa last week on Thursday, and the idea was to present the bill. I hope that did not mean that was public participation, because I know public participation will be in a more structured manner. But that as it may, we want to see whether there could be very progressive things that we may want to start embracing, and whether there could be issues we may want now in our role as the advocate, or in our advocacy role, whether there is something that we may want to pick up and still prepare another memorandum. So that is the idea behind the unpacking. I will not be surprised that this is the first independent unpacking of the Committee of Experts report, other than the presentation of the report by the experts themselves. Those of us who are in Mombasa during the Cusco Forum, the report was launched, and a good number of us were there. And so the report was dubbed Transformation of the Sacco System in Kenya. In the year 2023, we developed what we were changing the way we are seated. I give like 10 minutes for us to canvass big issues that have been proposed by the Committee of Experts. And you can pick issues that you find very progressive, and maybe just discuss what is it that you feel is a resolution as to the current challenges that we have for the movement. But you could also pick areas that you think now these are the areas that need to be canvassed during the public participations, and the areas that you think should inform how Ketsa should structure its memorandum if it is invited. So I have said 3 ways of a broad-based participation. One is areas that you think are very progressive and the implementation should have been done by yesterday. Areas that you think, because the details have not been provided in the bill, there are areas that need more participation. These are the areas that you will now be happy when public participation comes to engage more, and areas where you think now Ketsa should be thinking of how to prepare a memorandum. Does it have the capacity to regulate all the SACCOs that are going to be onboarded? Yeah, and that would be a very fundamental question also to be answered by the regulator. If you look at the Sacco Act that was established in the year 2008, it is referred to as the Sacco Act. The idea was that all SACCOs should be regulated by an authority. So what the authority did was to do, in fact, even this discussion we are having of risk-based supervision is not a new concept. For a start, the authority considered that the high-risk SACCOs are the ones that were doing deposit taking. And that is how Regulation 2010 started with the deposit taking SACCOs. And today we have approximately 175 DTS SACCOs. I know it is still not a very small assignment for the regulator. And even in the Committee of Expert report, they have picked issues to do with the capacity of the regulator, both in terms of funding and in terms of staffing, and even in terms of infrastructure, that is technology-wise. And they have even proposed, sorry? The standards of regulation. Yes. We can give Director Zero Eagle making a very substantive comment.
Asante mwalimu. Mimi naona wale wajuzi waliosema if you keep on doing the same thing and expecting a different result, they describe it using another name, which I don't want to put it here. But as we are moving to the new dispensation, and these experts have given out all those, but they have missed one area and left it. What standards does SASRA have? The specific, the regulation procedures. Are they going to use the same regulation and standards to regulate the SACCOs going forward? The same things which we are seeing now? The same things which you have been seeing them regulating? SACCOs are still SACCOs going down? What were the views of the Committee of Experts in upgrading the standards of SASCO so that it can be tight enough?
Yeah, it is interesting, by the way, in some of the issues that the Committee of Experts picked is the institutional capacity. And they have made a number of proposals, but the whole idea is build the capacity. They have talked about resourcing the authority, both in terms of the human capital, and of course there's a direct correlation between human funding, human capital, and financing the regulator, and also in terms of skilling and in terms of the technological advancement of the regulator. So they have picked those issues. How that is going to be implemented, that is government, isn't it? It may not be necessarily, but I agree with you that for a transformation to happen in the sector, the transformation should also happen with the regulator. In fact, one would even argue that should start happening here before it start happening there. And we hope that those are some of the things that we'll see happening. I actually agree with you that onboarding new workload without enhanced capacity may be suboptimal, may not realize the results that we are looking for. It is interesting that the next cohort of SACCOs that are to be onboarded are likely to be more than 10 times the ones that are already onboarded. So you can imagine. But maybe because of the risk-based supervision, you are likely to find that the risk exposure may not be as high, and we also hope that the regulator, in the continuous advancement of regulatory tools, like I know this year, you had a different way of reporting for the audited accounts. That could be part of the advancement that we are seeing. So in the future, even what we call the regulatory round tables, these are some of the issues that you could continuously pick. I know we did have a regulatory round table last year. I hope that this year there will be a regulatory round table. And these are the issues that you, as the leaders in the movement, you are permitted to pick. Now, question number two is, what is the new burden that will be introduced into the societies? And we were doing some competition with the National Secretary for Ketsa, who is the chairman of TAO. And we have seen, for a start, in the society it will be 26 million. And we went further to ask whether it is going to be treated the way provision for road losses are treated, where it is an accumulating figure, so that now next year, you only top up what will be the difference of the deposit. Or it will be purely treated as the way insurance are treated. Annual expiring annually. And I said that is also part of the conversation that we want to hear in terms of the details. I can imagine what the Chairman National, if he was to do his computation, what figure you are likely to see. And so the details now should bring out how is it going to be coming, whether it is a cumulative figure or it is a one-off. That is now the area of further impeachment. If it is a cumulative figure, then it is likely to be a burden only at the initial stages. There is a proposal in the committee of experts that there can be a seed capital injected by the government. So that maybe the idea, if that was to happen, then even the payment can be staggered. Now those are details that will be part of what advocacy will look like. Yes, don't step back. Now we are having public engagement. We are simulating. We are not having public engagement, we are simulating.
So this is Sacco money, members' money. Yeah. On one hand, we have been guided where to invest members' money. But on the other hand, we are told that the deposit guarantee fund, at least 0.1% will go there. But there is no guideline where that 0.1% will be invested or whatever. It has been left open. And in Kenya, the history of Kenya, such type of funds, they have been left open and you know what is happening. So, are these guys planning to tell us that we don't know what to do so that they can do it, or what is it?
Now, what we are told, let me not say what we are told. The proposal in the bill is that this money will be handled by KDIC. Now, how KDIC invests will remain as it invests today, because we are not going to amend the KDIC Act. We are only saying, because of the capacity of the movement, let this be handled somewhere else. And then, beyond that comment, Director Zero, you allow me, you allow me not to comment further. I can see my director is still not.
I think I'm Director Nyabero Charles.
Yes,
Logo.
Director Nyabero, yes.
Yes. This is where the gist of everything is. Because a lot of money, maybe it goes to the insurance way. SACCOs are going to sacrifice so much, they'll be told to pay a percentage. And that is the burden I was talking about. And a general comment, until recently, the political class in this country did not know much the volumes of money that were circulating the Sacco until recently. I had a forum with the current minister, the current CS cooperatives. He said for sure, he never knew. He has been minister in 2 regimes. He had never known that the Sacco movement has so huge amounts of money. May I say this? I wish they are not looking at members' money, because this money belongs to the members. And I wish there is a way such a things will be challenged before they go to the tail end, because the act which is there does not include SACCOs. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much. I think the conversation we are having, one, we are unpacking the Committee of Experts report, subsequently looking at how it has informed the amendment in the Sacco Act. Allow me to start with the middle comment that you have said, that for quite some time, we had done our business very quietly. That I want to agree. We had done our business very quietly. In fact, if you remember, other than in the year 2003, when President Mwai Kibaki came in, reinstated the Ministry of Cooperative. For a couple of years, we had also existed without a ministry. Then, again, when President Uhuru came up, again it was dropped somehow. Yet we had existed quietly. We possibly had not attracted a lot of attention, but now we have been profiled as a sector. In fact, if you look at how the better economy is supposed to be implemented, one of the NABRA is cooperative. So you are right to say that we have been profiled. But we have also been profiled when we have also hit the numbers that matter. We are now at trillion plus kind of a sector. I mean, how do we ignore a sector that has already hit a trillion? And also in terms of the population that is in the cooperative movement is huge. Plus other happenings that have happened within our space are drawing attention of the stakeholders. If you look at the media highlights that we got the whole of last year, it is unless you had moved out of Kenya, you do not know there is a movement. So for that reason, I agree with you that we have been profiled. It is therefore true that we can no longer do our business quietly. As a result, our need for advocacy also now goes higher. Everything that we have been doing quietly, including advocacy, now it means that now it has to scale up so that we manage those many interests as they come. Now the concept of DGF and CLF is not a foreign conversation. In fact, I dare say it is not an idea of the Committee of Experts. Do you agree with me? It has been there. In fact, maybe why they have come is to see how it can be structured and bring the global-based practices. So one day, the DGF was to come. And the reason for the deposit guarantee fund is well known to us. You know, creating a recourse, a fallback, a buffer, just in case. And again, if you look at it, it happens in all other industries. If you go to the banking, the insurance, you know, you find the deposit guarantee fund is there. But the conversation that is now being introduced is on how it is going to be contributed, to be computed and handled. And I think that's now the space for further advocacy. And the same thing for CNF. It is a conversation that we have had for quite some time, including in the Act there was a concept of inter-SACCO borrowing. So again, the discussion should be around how it is computed and the value that it creates for the society. Therefore, we would also want to try and separate it from, okay, I know there is that tendency of tying things to the bigger issues, but we would want to see it as money within our purview. Like for example, if you look at CRF, the proposal is that we manage it ourselves. That is why we are talking of a secondary cooperative. So it's not going to be managed somewhere in a government office. And maybe that is also another area for positioning, whether that secondary cooperative can still be us as Ketsa, or is it going to be the Sacco Central? Where is that going to be? Is it possible to have a merger? Now this is now Nyoro thinking, now I'm thinking, is it possible to have a merger where the Sacco and Sacco Central merge and create this huge secondary cooperative? And then the governance is represented from how that merger would look like. The problem of thinking on your toes, you are likely to say things that you are not meant to say, but I'm looking at, in the fullness of time, what shape will it appear? Yesterday we said, those that predict the future with certainty, they create it, isn't it? So why you are here is to see the future you want to see, and then you participate in its creation. You will be more in charge of how that future will look like. So I hope I have answered that concern. Any other? So can I propose? Oh yes. There is a...
Thank you to the members. I think I have a concern. Or probably there is something that rightly I'm not getting. Now, this is an overview of the Committee of Experts report. My worry is, this is a report that has gone to some level. Probably public participation has been, and it has been given to the experts to do the panel beating, and probably it is at a certain level. My surprise is, and my worry is, at the level at which we are we supposed now to make some recommendations out of this report for further panel beating of this report, or we are just listening and already the coffin has been sealed and we not open the coffin and do post-mortem of the remains?
Yeah, I know that question would have been best answered by the chair, but maybe just as a way of saying, the wisdom of this discussion by the board of Ketsa was to sensitize the delegate on what is happening in the sector. It was to bring you to speed in terms of this is happening and this is the new shape that this transformation in cooperative may assume. You are essentially being proactive. If possibly there could be somebody here, I bet, who has heard about all this conversation for the first time. I know there are people who went to Mombasa, Director or no. But there could be people who are getting it for the very first time. So through this sensitization, you start picking issues. Just like the committee of experts had picked issues, you could start picking issues. And these are the issues that in another forum, because you know the stages of even amendment of a bill, there will still be a room for public participation. If you hear something for the first time, it is unlikely that your thought process will prepare you to comment in a very eloquent manner. I even foresee a scenario where there is even a room for another memorandum just to look at what has been proposed. So the whole idea is, this is happening, what do you see? What do you see? This is a sensitization forum as a proactive approach to issues by Ketsa. So it is your forum to see whether there are areas of pain and areas of gain. So, yeah, thank you. I want it now to be done in a slightly structured manner. I had proposed a 5 or 10 minutes, just engagement where you are, and then it would be interesting to hear whether there is group. And I had even given a structure, areas that you find very good, very progressive, areas that you would even wish that they are fast-tracked, to areas that they require more engagement and discussion so that the details can be known. Remember, if you look at some of the recommendations that we go through, anytime we have seen that the minister will provide, that means the regulations will be prepared. And areas where you think that Ketsa now can even take a more proactive approach, and they could inform how the memorandum will look like. So just take your good 10 minutes, then we'll see which groups will be ready to make a submission on the other. And that is possibly how we exit this conversation. Now I speak like a teacher. That is also ensuring that I also use the concept of CPE, curriculum-based education, that also the participants participated. So,